Hello, I'm Professor Lieu. Welcome to our live stream. Today I am doing part 2 of our paint along featuring water mixable oil paints. If you would like to grow as an artist and you can't afford an art class, we've got everything you need here at Art Prof: critiques, tutorials, and professional development. And I encourage all of you guys to draw or paint along with me. You can use any media you want. I know some people maybe want to continue the pieces from last time, or if you want to just start a new one, that's totally cool as well. Now, if you guys would like to paint with me, I highly recommend that you get the high resolution photo of the reference in the lower left, and that link is in the YouTube video description below. Check that out. And I want to give a big thank you to Winsor & Newton for providing all of the water mixable art supplies, the mediums, and also the brushes. So thank you so much, Winsor & Newton, for doing that. And what I want to explain first is that I did work on this painting a little bit since the first stream. Here's why: because there were some portions of the painting that were starting to dry up on me. And I knew that if I didn't get rid of some of those sections, that opportunity was going to be lost. So what I want to show you guys right now, this is the painting when I finished it at the end of the first stream. You can see, first of all, it's a lot darker. I actually went in and I removed a lot of paint, and it's also a lot looser. Now, I want to get back to that. And if you guys come over here and you look at the painting now, it's way tighter because I had to go in and remove a lot of sections. I was thinking before maybe this would be an underpainting, but it's not going to be. I'm going to leave it like this. So the issue here, these highlights, you can't get them back once the paint dries. So I thought to myself, okay, that would be better actually to have too many highlights than not enough. So there are a lot of areas, like you can see these highlights in the oranges and also in the backgrounds, where I don't want those highlights to be that big, but I have to have them bigger rather than smaller because you can't get it back. And so I also did a lot of squinting, stepping back, looking at it from a distance, because getting a fresh eye on the painting, really important, you guys. Like, the painting feels totally different for me. I had some time to reflect upon what using these supplies was like, because like I said, last time was literally the first time I'd ever used these. And I decided with the mediums, I'm going to just stick with the safflower oil. Okay, because Winsor & Newton, they did send me this fast drawing medium. They also sent me stand oil. But I think for now, I just want to stick to one medium so I really understand that. I feel like if I start mixing all the mediums together, it's going to get really confusing really fast. The other plan that I have is I want to get to a broader range of brushes, and I want to paint slower. I feel that oftentimes the beginning of a painting is just a hot mess. And now it's time to clean up that hot mess, because I don't know, everything just feels so mushy to me before, and I just need to give it a better sense of structure and organization. So what I'm going to do first, I'm actually going to spend some time with the rag and also some water. And I'm going to actually see how much I can wipe away, because the thing I like about these panels, you can get a certain degree of texture that you can't really get in some of these other materials. So I'm going to go in right now and I'm just going to wet my rag a little bit. I'm going to see what I can get rid of. Maybe I can get some more different textures in here. Yeah, like, do you guys see how that's a lot more textured? Like, it's so smooth over here. And actually, that's sort of perfect for these oranges because they have that texture in the rind. That's actually quite beautiful. So I'm just going to spend some time with the rag and just pull out some areas, because the thing about this technique is you can't get it lighter once it's dry. So this is my opportunity to do that. And actually, I want to see if maybe I can scrape it with a palette knife. Okay, that was a bad idea because my palette knife is dirty. So if you do that, you probably want a clean palette knife. But I just want to see if this works. Not sure it will, but I guess the other thing I really want to try is I want to rip off my friend Kathy Speranza because I'm really jealous of her painting techniques. And she taught me all these cool things that I really want to try. I feel that looking at her work, if I had studied painting with her, maybe I would have had a better experience, but too late to do that. So I can start now. But one thing that she does in her paintings that I love, she's really good at utilizing soft, subtle edges. And I've always been somebody who was so reliant on like crisp, really articulate, solid marks. So I'm going to think about maybe trying to make this painting a little bit softer and more atmospheric, because I've done the whole realistic painting thing. I'm just not sure I need to do that again. I want to experiment and try something that feels different. So what I might do in this process is try to let go of some of these edges. And I have a feeling that's going to make me feel very insecure and mushy. Too bad. Let's try it, okay? Madeline is saying, this makes me want to try water-soluble oils. You should. I mean, this is so convenient. You guys, I am painting like on my laptop. I would never dream of doing something like that if this was regular oil paints. It's just, it would never, ever happen. So definitely give it a shot. I mean, it is a lot of materials that you have to get, but from what I've seen, they go pretty far. I mean, unless you paint really, really thick, that sort of changes things. Okay, it's not rubbing off that great, but I'm going to still give it a shot. Somebody is doing some construction outside. It's a little bit loud. Sorry about that. Yeah, this isn't rubbing off that great. I wonder if I'm going to try something. Just so you guys know, this is one big experiment. I'm just wondering, maybe if I use the oil, I wonder if that will be stronger in terms of removing some of the paint, because the water is not getting me that far. Whoa, you guys, okay. That was cool. All right. Oh, man. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, so if I dip it. Oh, that's awesome, guys. Oh, I'm so stoked. That's exactly what I wanted. Oh, this is so cool. Oh, I'm so excited now. Okay. Let's use the linseed oil. And actually, I like to put them in little jars like this. This is a little bit handier to deal with. Oh, that's cool. Oh, guys, I'm so excited now. I was thinking before, oh, this stinks. I really want to lift more. And that's, again, why I decided to do this tutorial sooner, because I was like, oh, man, if this dries on me, I'm going to be really sad. It's going to be a mega bummer. So, yeah. And you know what else I'm going to do today? I'm going to try to get away from the reference photo more. Because last week I was really married to it. And this week I just want to play around some more. So like here, I'm softening up that edge. I'm going to go back in and do that later. And I'm going to try to work a lot slower, because last time I just felt like I was painting faster than my brain could absorb. And I didn't like that. That was not fun. It felt too out of control. Okay. And actually, I should get down and do something similar to the leaves. This is actually easier because I guess I did this paint along a few days ago, but actually the leaves are still pretty wet, and the dark areas are totally wet still. So it really, the only thing that set up for me was the light areas, like the highlights. Those got pretty dry, but everything else is still fairly on the wet side, which is good. And I would also tell you guys that I like working on paintings when they're a little tacky. So it's this strange, like, in-between stage where parts of it are wet, Other parts are like dry, but not a lot. Actually, a lot of this is still pretty tacky. I like the paint to be sticky. I guess that's what it is. I like it to have some, I don't know what the word is, stickiness? I don't know. Maybe that's the word for it. So what I'm doing now is I'm just dipping in the linseed oil and I'm trying to pull out some of these areas. And this is way too light, but again, I'm making it too light on purpose so that when I go back in and I work on it, I can just easily make it darker. Because in this particular technique, it's easier to make things darker than it is to make them lighter. So that's why I'm airing. Oh man, I just totally ruined that. All right, let's get out some of the paint. And my plan for the painting today, at least the additive part, is to put it on really thin. I'm going to do all glazes today. I mean, I might do a couple spots where maybe I say correct things. Like if there's a drawing issue, I might do that. But today, my plan is to work on glazing. Glazing is so fun and so satisfying. So does everybody see how thin that is? And then I can also go back in with some of that. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time with the brush though, because I definitely want to get back into the rag and see what's going. So you guys can see the pace is really different on the second layer. It's just not the same thing. Okay, that looks really crappy. I'm going to just wipe this whole thing away because I feel like that just looks strange and segmented. So at this point, you guys, it's better for things to be wiped away than to be too dark. John Murph is asking, is this technique only applicable on panels and not on fabric? That's a great question. You can do this on canvas. The issue with canvas, because canvas is not hard like a panel, it's tougher to put that like physical pressure you need to press into the surface. Like on a panel, it's so stable that it's pretty easy for me to apply that pressure. So it's not that you can't do it on canvas. It's just a little bit tougher to do because there's not that resistance with the panel that you can definitely get. Ghost King is saying, I wonder if you're going to glaze it with color later on. I was thinking about that, but given that this is my first foray into water mixable paints, I'm going to keep it real simple. And we can do another paint along at some point where I do go full out color, because right now I just really need to get to know the material. It's just too many factors. And oftentimes it's hard to get to know a material if you try to do too many things all at once, because then it's tougher to pinpoint, oh, okay, it was the safflower oil that was causing that problem. Or, oh, it was the surface, because there's so many things that you have to think about. Well, thank you so much, you guys. Emil is saying, I think the painting already looks great. Well, I'm glad somebody thinks it looks good because I don't. I feel like it's a hot mess right now, but that's okay. We're going to work on that. Okay. So again, oh, it's so hard to do to loosen up. And I really have to just, I have to not be afraid to wipe away. Okay. Because here's my thought. Half of me wants to go in and paint it very realistically because that's what I was trained to do with painting. The other half of me wants to just go all crazy atmosphere. I might just do that. But I'm just warning you guys, it might not look good for like a long time, if ever. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you guys want to see a realistic painting. I don't know. Or maybe you want to see me experiment and mess up. I'd rather experiment. So too bad. That's what we're going to do. It's not fun for me otherwise. So that means there's going to be a bunch of areas where I'm just going to remove stuff. I'm going to make things a lot more mushy. And then, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it mushy and atmospheric. And then I'm going to go in it and I'm going to pick out very particular parts to sharpen. Okay, so like back here, oh crap, I just dipped my hand into the linseed oil. Okay, I'm going to like really lift out this leaf, make it more ghost-like. So here's where, you guys, I'm really going to depart from the reference. I think paintings are more interesting when the reference is not so clear-cut. I think when you can make it a little bit more of a departure point and not so much something that really determines exactly what the drawing's going to look like. Okay, so yeah, let's just go to town. Too bad, guys. No realistic painting. Sorry. You're getting an experiment instead. I know it's not as fun to watch. I know, well, because I do feel that on YouTube, a lot of it is about, oh, make it as realistic as possible. And a lot of people want to know what it's going to look like. I don't know what this is going to look like. I really don't. I have no idea. It could look horrible by the time I'm done, or it could be a fun experiment. And at the very least, hopefully it shows you guys that you can mess around. It's fine. It's fine to mess around. It really is. Yeah, let's just lose all these edges. I might really regret this later, but for now I'm having fun. That's all that really matters. Let's pull out more. Oh, that feels good. Oh, that feels great. You guys ever have parts of your paintings where you're like, oh man, that feels amazing. Okay. Yeah, okay, this is more fun. Let's just work with the rag for a little bit. I think the rag is really underestimated. I think a lot of people don't realize what an incredible painting tool it really is. And so actually, I need to use a bigger brush, and I'm going to get my paint really thin. And let's just, again, lose these edges, because I don't like these edges. They're kind of annoying. So here you can see how tacky the paint is. It's not very even, but maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. I got to really back off on the blacks because I'm such a value person that I do find myself returning to blacks and relying on them way too much. So I'm going to try to purposefully not do that because I know it's something that I do too much. It's a crutch for me. So sometimes that's good. So tell me, you guys, for those of you who are in the chat right now, maybe you're painting or drawing along, I want you to do this. Set a very specific goal for this one painting, okay? Not life goals, but one goal. So my goal, I'm going to share with you, is to not rely on the blacks and to try to get more subtlety in the gray so I can put in the darks at the last minute. Calm Cuke is saying, I love that you can lift the paint like watercolor, but better. Oh yeah, way better. Watercolor, you have to practically tear the paper to get the whites out, which is a huge pain in the butt. Wrigglesworth says, I did mine with canvas since it was what I had and definitely regretted it. It just keeps caving under the pressure and the paint just doesn't wipe away nicely. Yeah, it's a limit. It's like you can only do so much. Whereas with the panel, you can really go a little bit crazy. So yeah, okay, let's just remove. Because you know what? In the beginning, it's just like one thing at a time, okay? Like let's not get too ambitious. I'm all for being ambitious, but I think when you guys are learning a new material, you do have to be reasonable, right? I mean, I definitely have had students who they bite off too much. It's too much going on. And I'm like, no, I'd rather you do something simple, really learn something, than try to do too much and just get super frustrated. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to pull up because these oranges have a real form to them. And again, this feels mushy, but I'm so going to resist the temptation to go in and articulate stuff. I'm really going to try to do that. So yeah, my pace is going to be real slow today, you guys. If you want to see fireworks, this is not the stream. I don't know. I feel like painting tutorials are not that exciting because I work so slow. I feel like the drawing tutorials are more exciting, but I don't know. According to the views, it seems like people like the painting tutorials more. Maybe it's the color, maybe because painting is more popular. I don't know, but I feel that drawing is more exciting to draw, but that could just be me. I just have a thing for drawing. It just feels more, what's the word? Primitive? I don't know. Painting is so pretty and refined. I mean, I guess it depends on how you paint. I mean, if you're like Soutine, I guess that's not really the case. Look up Soutine, Soutine. Oh, he's got these incredible paintings of hanging carcasses of beef. Yeah, that is definitely not pretty painting. It's awesome. I love it. I want to give a shout out to Al C for the super chat. Thank you so much for your support. As you guys know, we rely entirely on donations, and Art Prof's 100% free. So we need these donations to keep us alive, basically, because every month I'm like, I can't believe we're still alive. I can't believe we're still around. It's kind of remarkable. We're such a scrappy operation. It's a lot to maintain, and I am really on my own in terms of admin and stuff like that. I really wish we could hire an admin so I wouldn't have to work on spreadsheets so much. But unfortunately, unless Bill Gates steps in, it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. So we'll see. Okay, I just want to, does everybody see there's this beautiful cast shadow that is being cast from this orange onto this orange? So I'm just taking a minute with my brush to enhance some of that. That's probably a little bit too much. So let's just soften that up a little bit. I do think little parts of shadows like this, they're pretty important. This is not really something you can get rid of. And I do want to try this brush. This is a fan brush, and I've never used one of these before. But again, my friend Kathy Speranza uses it a lot. I'm like, okay, well, she uses it, then there must be a good use. Which is funny because I think about that brush more as being, how should we say? I think about it more like a watercolor brush. I think it's a little weird. Oh, you know what else we need to do, guys? We need to do some dry brushing. Okay, so let's do this. Let's pull out all kinds of textures with the rags, and then let's get in with some dry brushing. Because what I don't like about this painting right now, it's too smooth. I don't like that. I want to have some texture, so that way it feels a little bit more structured. Like this leaf was so mushy before, but if you look at it, there are like these planes in this. And so I want to just lift a little bit out of here. And I'm telling myself in my head, don't be afraid of texture, because there is a part of me that just wants to smooth everything out. I don't know why. Maybe because it just feels good, but I'm trying to resist that because I want texture. I want structure in my paintings as much as I can. Yeah, see, like just lifting that out of the leaf, in my opinion, makes it feel a lot less flat and a lot less monotonous. And I don't want that. So I'm just going to go in here, actually, maybe with a brush with no medium, like a really, really dry brush. Let's see if this, oh yeah, that's nice. Oh, it's so tacky. I love that. Love tacky paint. Some people might think, oh, tacky paint's not good because it is weird, but let's just try maybe some more texture in here. Oh, that's kind of nice. I sort of like that. It's a little bit monotonous, but we'll work on it. Actually, here's a little drawing thing. I also want to make little fixes. So like here, there's this dark separation between the oranges. I'm not going to make it as dark as it is in the photo, but I definitely want something there because otherwise it's going to be really unclear. Yeah, sorry guys, painting is slow. I just can't paint faster. It's just, I know it's more entertaining when I draw it faster, but I just can't. So yeah, fireworks, go watch something else. And you know something, guys? I'm glad you want me to experiment. I really am. I saw a comment earlier. Sorry, I can't remember who it was. But I think there are a lot of people who watch YouTube who do want that really obvious, predictable result. And I think it's awesome that you guys really appreciate and enjoy that part of what we do here, because that's what the creative process is. It's not about things being so straightforward all the time. All right, same thing with this leaf. Let's just lift out a couple moments in there, especially to separate because there's a branch in front. So I don't want that to get in the way. And actually, that's way too dark. So I might just do a quick glaze on top. Yeah, I'm going to keep the paint crazy thin, guys. I'm not, in fact, my plan right now is just put very little paint and just really rely on this rag to do most of it. And I'm going to let some of these areas just disappear and become ghosts. Because like this leaf over here that I'm drawing in the corner, it's very dark. But I think from an atmospheric perspective point of view, I'm not so sure I need that. And I'm looking at what's dark compared to something else. So everybody see the box here? The box against the leaf, between the two, the leaf is lighter. And so that will help you. Sometimes people just assign value. Like they say, oh, that's medium gray, and they try to match things, but you can't do that. You have to say, okay, the leaf is lighter than the box. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, let's just let this stuff fade, you guys. So again, I don't know. It's a little dangerous for me to not rely on the photo, at least for me, because I feel like if I rely on the photo more, my results are more guaranteed, but they're also more predictable and therefore, in my opinion, more boring. We have some questions. John Murph says, will you have to varnish the painting? I feel that you can pull out the paint even after it's dry. So varnish might be required. I haven't tried this kind of paint. I don't think you can once it's dry. I mean, I haven't done a painting from beginning to end, so I can't say 100%, but I'm going to guess that is the case. Winsor Newton does make a lot of varnishes that they sent me, so I might try it, but I got to look up exactly how long you have to wait, because I know with oil painting, you have to wait a year before you're supposed to put the final varnish on. Although what a lot of people opt to do with oil paintings is until that happens, they put on retouch varnish. So retouch varnish you can put on at any time, but picture varnish, which is the final varnish, you have to wait a year for the oil paintings. ComCuke says, there are few good painting tutorials. You're so informative. I really like the painting lives and tutorials. Awesome. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I get very self-conscious. I know it doesn't seem like I do, but I did that draw along with Jordan yesterday on how to draw clothing. And I felt like my drawing was not good to the point where the compulsive side of me had to finish it. There's no reason I need to. It's fine to just, but I had to finish it. So I watched Raiders of the Lost Ark and I worked on this. This seems to be this continuing routine where I do a live stream. I'm not happy with it. And then I watch a movie from the 80s while I finish it. I don't know. That's kind of a nice way to wind down in a way. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Ironhold says, I feel like drawing can be more obviously chaotic, but with painting, there are layers of chaos. That's true. I mean, painting, I need layers. I cannot paint alla prima. I mean, I respect people who can because I'm not good at it, but I need the layers for me as a backup, a foundation that I can stand on top of, because otherwise for me, it's just really, really tricky. Alex is saying, I prefer painting. It requires more arm movement. You have to be present to get a good painting, which is my downfall. I think drawing requires just as much arm movement. I mean, it depends on how you draw. People have different ways of drawing. I'm pretty physical when it comes to my drawing. So when I'm done with a drawing session, my arm hurts and my shoulder hurts. So it really, really depends. And Karen says, TTC, my goal is rest. I have been making Christmas cards with my jelly plate today. That's awesome. Yeah, tell me in the chat, who here is doing something that relates to making art for the holidays? Tell me what it is. It's an ornament, it's a card, because my whole thing this year is I'm not going to buy anything from a corporate store, and I'm going to buy stuff entirely from my artist friends. And so I actually commissioned, can't tell my kids this, I commissioned one of my former students to draw characters of my kids and then put them in a comic. And I think it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to show them. It's going to be really cool. Steven says, when you break things, we can see how they are constructed, educational. Yeah. And honestly, guys, I don't need to show off anymore. I've done plenty of that in my life. And I'm not interested in that. I did that for many years. Agatha says, will this be saved later as a YouTube video? Yep. So every single live stream that we do it pops up on our channel, I would say about 30 minutes after I'm done streaming live. So you guys can always go back and revisit things. 10K says, it does make me feel so much better to know that Professor Lieu gets self-conscious about art too. It never goes away. You would think at some point you gain the confidence and the experience to say, oh, I know. But I don't. I really don't, you guys. And stuff that I've been doing for a long time, techniques that I really think, Clara, you really should be better at this. I don't feel that way. So it's very, very tricky. We have a comment from LP999. Hi, everyone. We love your channel. We are applying lessons here. Awesome. Thank you so much. Tell me in the chat if this is your first time live. Maybe you're a lurker. You've been watching us this whole time, but have never commented. Just say hello. You don't have to say anything more dramatic than that, but just tell me you're here. I talked to somebody the other day. We're doing a portfolio critique for them. And I asked them, oh, well, how did you find us? Because most people found us during the pandemic for obvious reasons. But this person said, oh, I've been watching you for years. I was like, really? They're like, yeah, I just never submitted or commented. I'm like, dude, I'm so excited you did. It's hard because sometimes I think that nobody knows about us. And I'm like, yeah, we're just we are still are a little scrappy channel. We don't have 8 million viewers or anything like that. But then somebody will say something. I'm like, really? Okay. Like I've had people say, oh yeah, we're using your videos in my art class. I'm like, really? Okay. That's the thing about teaching online is you just never really know, because for all the people that do comment, there are a lot of people that don't. And so sometimes it's really, really tough to tell, like, okay, what really is my reach? It's very tricky. Unless you have, of course, 5 billion zillion viewers. But I don't even know that I would want that. That seems like a lot of exposure. And you know something, guys? I would much rather have a smaller channel with big fans than a huge channel where people watch me. I'd much rather have people that are really dedicated. You know what I'm going to try, you guys? Let me get my clean palette knife, not the dirty one. Oh, there's 2. Okay, I actually don't like this one very much, a little bit too wide. I like this one better, but I'm going to try this. I don't know if this is a good idea, but I'm going to scrape. Oh, cool. Oh, you guys. Okay, here we go. This is the stuff. I don't even know if you guys can see this because it's so subtle. You might not be able to see some of the textures, but I'm kind of loving that. It's kind of awesome. Yeah, I'll take a picture of the texture close up so that you guys can see it in the Discord, because I'm not so sure that this texture is going to be that clear on the webcam. Oh, I kind of love that. And that feels a lot more concrete, actually, than what I was doing with the rag. This is one big experiment. And again, like, I don't usually paint on panels. Like, all my experience has been painting on canvas. But again, my friend Kathy Speranza swears by panels. So I just thought, okay, let's just give it a shot. I just love trying new stuff. Super fun. Also, it gives you an excuse to not be good at it. Because you're like, oh, I'm a beginner. That's why it's so bad. Like, that's what I do with Procreate. I'm like, oh, I'm a beginner. So that excuses me from having to make good work. Also, when I do those draw-alongs with Jordan, I'm just like, yep, Jordan's better than me at Procreate. It's like, you can just give in. It's kind of awesome. Okay, some very thin. Yeah, you know what I'm going to do also? I think that the safflower oil, I think it actually makes things a little bit too slippery. So let's see what happens if I don't use any safflower oil. And maybe that'll make the painting feel a little bit more structured. I want to give a shout out to Ghost King. Thank you so much for the super chat. They are saying I'm having plenty of fireworks watching you paint. I'm in Discord too, just too embarrassed to talk. Thanks for all the hard work and videos. Well, thank you. You guys just say hi. I'm not that scary. I was scary when I was teaching college. Like, if I'm grading you, you should be scared. But not grading you. and just hang out. Like Akea says, I'm a big lurker. Love all your videos, but I just leave a like and move on to another video. Well, let me know, because guys, we get a lot of comments, but I'll tell you, I read every single one. Okay. Even the ones that are like 2 words, they matter to me. And it's one of my favorite parts of Art Prof. So let me know. Just tell me you're there. Like, you don't have to leave anything super exciting. It's just nice because you're like, oh, people do see me. Okay. That's awesome. We got smart comments. I don't know how many of you guys read the comments in our YouTube videos, but I have definitely lurked on other art channels. And let's just say our audience is really smart. Really, really smart. I've read comments on our channel, honestly, that could be passed in as art history papers. Like, some of them are really extraordinary. So yeah, we have an awesome audience. Like I said, I'd rather have a small audience than a huge one that is only mildly interested. I much, much prefer that. Okay, everybody see there's like a little reflected light here. It's very minor, and I'm probably making it too big, but let's just make it too big, and then I'll make it a little bit thinner when I get back in here. Okay, like that. Yeah, you know, I was trying to do too much the last stream. I was like using the safflower oil, using a rye is too much. I think right now I'm just gonna use no safflower oil and just very, very thin. Oh, this definitely feels better. I felt like such a hot mess last time. Let's try the fan brush. Maybe the fan brush is good. Oh, that is, whoa, it like covers so much. Okay, I'm getting a little picky and I don't like that. So let's get back in here with the rag. And because I can feel myself tightening up and I don't like that very much. Actually, you know something, before I go in and I do that, I think what I would rather do, I got to fix up the form on this orange because there definitely is like a division here. Actually, I need a bigger brush. The brush is a little bit too small. Let's go bigger and broader so I can cover larger area. Yeah, because there's this cute little, looks sort of like a pincushion, doesn't it? It's really cute. Oh, I need a smaller brush too. I don't know. Painting is hard for me because I'm like, oh, I want to be all painterly and Anders Zorny and John Singer Sargenty. And then I just am not that good at it. Like, I don't know. I guess John Singer Sargent sort of gave me an inferiority complex. And he gave everybody an inferiority complex. Can you imagine if he was like in your class? I'd be so pissed. Although there was somebody in my senior portrait painting class who was sort of like that. And I was so jealous, you guys. So jealous. Oh my God. Like, it still bothers me to this day that I let myself get that jealous. But can't help it sometimes. Some people are just so freaking good. And you know something? I'm never going to paint like that student. Never, ever. I don't have it in me to paint that way. But I do like painting. It's not my major thing. Drawing is definitely my major thing. That's where I really feel like I'm in my element. But that's fine. I mean, I like hopping around. I don't know if you guys saw, but we did this portfolio critique the other day with somebody who really wanted to do illustration and fine art. I'm going to make this a little bit darker. And they said that they had gotten a lot of flack for that. And I was like, really? How can you bother somebody for wanting to try a lot of things? Oh man, I'm getting stuck here. Okay, this is not good. I'm sort of fussing a little bit. You got to catch yourself. Because you know what? Fussing is sort of fun. I'll admit it. It just kind of feels good to do that, but I can only do it so much. Okay, so see here, I'm pulling out a sharper edge and maybe beef up this. Oh, this is really tacky. Sheesh. This area I might need to let it dry because it's not painting very smoothly. And maybe let me try the fan. I am loving this fan brush. Like, where have you been my whole life? Oh, that feels really good. Awesome. Okay, we got to get down here, guys. I am so not acknowledging this area, and it's not good. So let's go in with a really dry brush. Hang on, I got to move my paints. These are all in the way. Okay, so let's get in here a very dry brush, no safflower oil, no medium at all. And let's see if I can clean up this mess. Well, this isn't really a mess. There's sort of nothing there. So it's not really mess. It's sort of like non-existent, which is better. So here, this is the darkest edge. So I'm going to put that one down first to establish that. And this to me is more drawing. I'm not so much really painting right now. This I'm going to make pretty ghost-like. I like things that are suggested and more ethereal. Although, I don't know, sometimes things that are really concrete feel freaking good. Like the way Caravaggio paints fruit. Oh, man. Though, oh, Caravaggio, you make me very sad about my painting skills. Tell me in the chat, who here has seen a Caravaggio painting in real life? You guys should do that before you die. Just like get over to Italy if you can. I know it's expensive and you can't go right now, obviously, but everybody should see a Caravaggio painting and a Vermeer and a Rembrandt and everything, right? You should see it all. But if I were to, let me think. Tell me in the chat, what artwork have you seen in real life that you really think, if it was on your bucket list of you have to see these paintings before you die, which artists or specific paintings would that be for you? For me, it would be Vermeer, Rembrandt. I'm sorry, I know they're all white men. And who's the other guy? Caravaggio. I mean, there are some other contemporary artists that I really like. But, so here's the thing. Like, John Kern is a really good painter. But I don't feel that he's on my bucket list. He's good. It's just not my bucket list. Caravaggio and Vermeer, though, oh man, those guys are on my bucket list. So, yeah. Oh, no, you know what it is? Raft of Medusa. Okay, that is a painting you got to see in real life. It's huge. It's so big. Oh my God. It's like 15 feet wide. If you guys want to feel inferior as an artist, go see Raft of Medusa. You'll be like, I just give up now. I don't know why I'm painting. It's pointless. Like, it just boggles my mind. I'm like, how did that? How did this happen? Okay, that's a little more concrete. I still feel like I'm fussing, but I guess, I don't know, what's the difference between painting slowly and fussing? Maybe it comes down to the number of strokes. Because you see, right now I'm doing this, and I'm not so sure I like that. I think I want something a little bit more direct. So let's try that. Actually, before I do that, I do want to put in these like little rips, because this is sort of like a drawing issue. Like, these really have to be in here. So let's just paint those in. Like this one, I think there's like a little touch at the top. Yeah, these I might have to go over again because it's a pretty light glaze, but let's get in. You know what I need? I need a brush that's too big. I need a brush like this, a brush that's so big that it bothers me, but this will keep me from fussing because the brush is so large. Ah, that's better. Okay, good. Now I'm not going to fuss so much. Let's just get some more direct strokes. Strokes that are fewer. So instead of putting down 15 marks, I'm putting down 3. So let's try to just be more assertive and confident, because I'm not doing that right now, guys. Definitely not. And I could blame it on the media. Yes, yes, yes. But I'm not gonna. I'm gonna take responsibility for my actions today. Yeah, this is better. Oh, I'm so glad I switched to this big brush. Yeah, now I'm not fussing as much. Big brush, where have you been all my life? Oh, I'm so happy that I'm using this now. All right, let's maybe even darker. Let's try to build this up. Like, this is pretty dark, this whole section right here. This is, again, layers. I guess because I'm on camera, I feel like I should do something really exciting, but sometimes painting is boring. I mean, not like as in, oh, I hate this, but like as in sometimes it's like it takes a while to get to what you want it to be. So that can make it feel very slow a lot of the time. Okay, that at the very least, I don't think that looks great, but it gives the box just a little bit more dimension so it doesn't feel quite so bland. I didn't like it the way it was before. And actually maybe a little touch on this leaf. Maybe get that. So the leaf almost blends into the box. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Al says, I've been intending to see Lady Agnew by Sargent, 50 minutes away in Scotland. I've been meaning to see it for years now. I saw it, guys. I think it was at the MFA show? This was a show really long time ago in the 90s. I think Lady Agnew was there. Definitely Madam X was in that show. I remember that. We have a question from Rena who says, how do you avoid repeating the same points during a class critique? You don't. I mean, my joke, you guys, is that I feel like I'm always saying the same, like 5 things to everybody all the time. You know what the difference is, though, is that you give different examples and you also don't say it the same way. That's a pretty big difference, guys. I mean, ask anybody. Who here in the chat is a teacher? If you're a teacher, tell me in the chat if you've ever had to repeat the same thing over and over and over again. That's teaching. Teaching is repetition. Like I've talked to my former students who are teaching and they say things to me like, oh, I already explained this. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like you have to say things many, many times. It never ends, right? I'm always telling you guys things in the Discord, like have a background, don't do a centered composition, da, 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 da. But it's like you can't say that enough times. It's just sort of the way things are. Karen says, I've done your bucket list. I loved her on Miss Bosch, Garden of Earthly Delights, and the Prado. Oh, Karen, the Prado, my favorite museum in Europe. I mean, granted, I have not been to every museum in Europe, but the ones that I did go to, oh, the Prado was so good. Although, I wonder if it has to do with expectations. I wonder if that's part of it, because when I went to Spain, I did not really know Spain very well. I wasn't that informed about like what was there, because when I was in Italy, I was like, oh, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there, I'm going to see Pope Innocent X, and I had like this whole list. But when it's in Spain, I didn't. I just showed up because my friend was studying there, so I was like, okay, I'll go see you, and that'll be fun. And I went to the Prado because, of course, it's the Prado. And I went there, I was like, oh my God, I had no idea all this stuff was here. I really did not know. And so it was this huge surprise. Like I could not, and I was like, oh my God, Spanish painters are the greatest. Whereas I have to admit, when I went to the Louvre, not that it was disappointing, maybe it's just too big, because I don't know, it was really cold. I mean, it's a museum. That's kind of a dumb complaint. But it was so huge and overwhelming. And I didn't enjoy the Louvre that much. But I really wonder if it's just the size. It's just so much to see. It's really hard. So yeah, maybe that's unfair of me to get on the Louvre for that. But anyway, the Prado. Oh my God, I could have just sat there. There's this one room, the room where sorry for the pronunciation, Las Meninas, the Maids of Honor by Velázquez, is in this one giant room. Oh my God. And that room has so many Velázquez paintings. I was like obsessed with Velázquez when I got back. It was so cool. Oh, you guys, that really makes me want to go to Europe. I haven't been to Europe in such a long time. Maybe someday we'll have an art prof retreat. We can go hang out in Spain and eat tapas and all that good stuff. But somebody call Bill Gates. Takes something to run something like that. Okay. Again, painting real slow. I just want to get this like bump that's on that orange. Trying to pull, because there's sort of like reflected light area here that I'm trying to remove. Yeah, that's feeling a little bit better. Mr. Scooby is asking, is oil painting too hard to begin with? It's not that it's too hard. There's a couple things you need to do oil painting without getting massively mad and frustrated. The first thing is you need a facility, because if you do oil painting the traditional way with Gamsol and solvents, you do need ventilation, or you can work at home if you have a space with lots of windows and it's warm enough that you can have all the windows open. So you can definitely do that at home. But you also need proper instruction, and you need to know what supplies are available. Because when I started oil painting, I had all the wrong tools. I was using them the wrong way. And so I really felt with oil painting that I had to like unlearn stuff, because I learned it so badly the first time through, and I had all the wrong tools. It just was a nightmare for me. So this feeling of like, oh, I have to do oil painting because I'm not a real painter. Don't worry about that, guys. I think the better thing is to like save yourself until you really have the situation. It's a situation. You have to have the situation to do oil painting. Like you can't just pick it up. Don't try. I mean, we have a tutorial that is responsible, and we tell you all the things that you need to know. But it's like, if you can't afford all the supplies, it's such a pain. Like, for example, I can't paint without a silicoil brush cleaning tank. They're not expensive, but it's like, it's a lot of stuff you got to afford. So I think that's the issue. So don't let it stop you. But again, don't pressure yourself. Oh, I have to do this. Ooh, you guys have some really pretty reflective light here. You can see I'm pulling out. Guys, I'm having so much fun. This might be a long stream. I'm just warning you. I know a lot of you guys probably have stuff to do and places to go. So I will be in the Discord afterwards. I'm just saying this might be a long stream because I'm like getting really into my painting and kind of don't want to stop right now. So, although maybe I'll get pissed at my painting and then I'll be like, I'm done. It's really a roller coaster, isn't it? Because I wasn't feeling great when I started, but now I'm kind of liking this. I mean, not liking the painting, but I'm enjoying the process. I like working slowly and starting to pop out some of these forms. I'm trying to get this edge a little bit better defined. Oh, the paint is so tacky here. It's kind of becoming a problem right now. Blue Wolf is saying maybe you could do a third stream. Oh yeah, I definitely, this is not going to get done today. There's so many things I need to dry before I can do a couple of other things. So yeah, for sure, there's going to be a third stream. Oh, this is a nice comment from Karen, who says, oil painting's like woodworking. I keep wanting to do more, but never have the right situations and tools. This is so true, you guys. You need the situation. Otherwise, you don't have that. It's too frustrating, right? It would frustrate you more, and then it would turn you off. And then that's not good either, because then you have this like twisted version of what oil painting is that's really bad. And I don't think you want that. Let's try the fan brush again. Oh, I love that. Where have you been all my life? Fan brush? Oh, I'm loving this tool. By the way, you guys, I keep mentioning my friend Kathy Speranza. She does have an online painting class that she's offering right now. You do have to pay for it, but she's such a good painter, and she's so much better than me at painting that I really recommend you guys check out her stuff, because she's incredible. And we do have a video where I interview her about her stuff, so you guys can look at that video too. At the very least, just go see what her work is about. She's incredible. She's also on Instagram. I'll put her links in the video description below if any of you guys want to take a look at that later. You know what? I feel like these look like plums. They don't look like oranges. I guess because I haven't put the rind texture on yet. I gotta scrape more. Let's like really scrape, you guys. I wasn't really scraping that hard before, but I'm gonna like scrape. Let's scrape too much. Ugh, that's a little bit alarming, but I sort of like it. Let me bring down the contrast. This might make the painting look a little darker, but it'll help you guys maybe see some of those subtleties a little bit better. Okay, let's try that. Like this. I really like this is probably the brightest highlight, the one that I'm doing right now. Let's just scrape. Yeah, like for this panel technique, you need to have the ability to put on physical pressure. If you don't have that, it's a pain. So like I said, you could do this on canvas, but I don't think it would be a great experience. And I'm all for a more simple but quality experience. Yes, things don't have to be so ambitious all the time. I mean, sometimes they do, but not right now. Ooh, I'm doing some dry brushing. I'm such a fan of dry brushing, guys. Like I know a lot of people enjoy wet into wet and stuff, and some people do it really well. I am not one of those people. I do not do well with wet and wet. I do much better with the like tacky dry brushing stuff. That's a lot better. Okay, let me block in. I want to come back to this orange. I am fussing too much. Maybe I should spend some time on the leaves because those need a little bit of care. Let's lift a little bit more, like back here. You know what I really need? I need some Q-tips. Let's try that because I have some. Oh, that's good. Oh, that is awesome. Oh, that's cool because the rag was a little bit too dramatic. I think I'm just going to paint with these Q-tips for a little while. And actually, let's do some scraping. So actually, you guys can see not a lot of my process is with the brush. So much of it is the rag, the scraping. I think the brush, it's not that the brush is overrated. I just think it's like people head to the brush first and they sort of assume, oh, the brush will do everything. It'll do a lot, but I love these other tools. They're so much fun. And I love the rag. The rag, I feel like I like rags more than brushes. Okay. Oh, that's nice. Now I'm getting more highlights. And maybe even with this, I could try to do a little bit of texture. I mean, we'll see. These are getting pretty dirty pretty fast. But I don't know. I guess I do need to work on the stem. The stem is not great looking, but we'll get to that eventually. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Blue Wolf says, we can't see you tapping into the paint. Are you adding medium or water? I'm only using medium. So what I'm doing is I'm putting it in here. I'll try to show you guys every time I dip it in here. But right now I'm not using any medium. I was just doing it with a rag. I'm not using water because I tried water at the beginning and the water wasn't strong enough. It wasn't pulling out the paint the way that the rag with the medium and also the scraping is. I need to scrape more. I really like this texture, you guys. The scraping is awesome. You know, maybe, let me see what other tools I have. We'll try this. Is this one? Oh, I don't like that one. That one sucks. Okay, let's do this one instead. Because I kind of like this scrubbing. Let me get back to the reference photo. I'm actually not looking at the reference photo much. I am for the lighting, but actually for a lot of the stuff, I'm not really looking at it. That's what I do when I paint from a reference. In the beginning, I really need the reference. The reference is like everything. But as I get further along, the reference becomes less and less important to me. And I have to say, by the time I'm almost finished with the painting, I'm not looking at it anymore. I'm just doing what the painting needs. Because you know something, you guys? A lot of people say, well, that's not right in your reference, and it's more like this. And I'm like, but you can paint something very accurately from a reference photo, and it can be accurate, but sometimes it doesn't look good. Like there are certain things that just don't look good. Let's get some more Q-tips. We have a ridiculous number of Q-tips because I think it was like one of those Costco runs where you're like, I need enough Q-tips for the next 500 years, right? And now we have a ridiculous number of Q-tips. I'm going to have Q-tips until I die. It's ridiculous. Although, you know, I think it's scary. You know, when you go to like Costco or BJ's and it's like 5-gallon jug of mayonnaise, I'm like, that's wrong. Nobody should have that much mayonnaise unless they're feeding 500 people. Like that just upsets me. Scrape more. It's weird. Like I'm pressing pretty hard, but it's not, the scraping is not really going that far. I don't even know if you guys can see it that well. I think I need to do more of it. I think I'm not doing enough. And so it's starting to feel like it's not very well integrated. I want it to integrate better into the painting. Mackenzie says, my teacher always tells us that we can, quote, edit stuff out that looks bad or is distracting. Exactly. Like if you guys look at the reference photo, do you see the section here, this like cascade of leaves? In the photo, these are very sharp, crisp, flat edges. I don't like the way that looks, though, in the photo. It doesn't look good in my painting. And so that's why I'm cheating a little bit. And you can see some of these leaves down here at the bottom. They're a lot more soft. And I got rid of some of the darks down there. Blue Wolf is asking, is the Q-tip cotton sticking to the painting? Not that I can see. My painting's so thin that I'm going to guess that maybe that's the reason why I'm getting away with it. I mean, I don't want to use the Q-tip for everything. I just used it for a couple of these spots. In fact, I should do a little bit more there. I am picking again, guys. Stop me from picking. I can't help it. It's hard not to pick. It's really just for these little spots where I can't get in with my rag. My rag is just a little bit too much. And actually, we really have to articulate the stem because the stem comes down and it comes up. I'll go back in and I'll articulate it more, but I definitely need something in there. Yeah, that's a little bit better. We'll go back in with something. TG says, we can't see all the painting. Can you please move the camera a bit so we can see the whole painting? This is the whole painting. It looks like that because I actually did some thumbnails the first stream, and this is the composition. So I cropped out a lot of the reference photo, so that's why. Because I know a lot of people saw the reference photo and they just assumed, oh, okay, you're just gonna copy that same composition, but I didn't. I used the reference photo the way, very much the way I would have used if I was painting a still life from real life. I mean, that's what I would rather do. I'd much rather paint from life. But the thing is, the streams are so staggered. And also I want you guys to be able to paint with me. That's a little bit tougher to do. But that would be my personal preference. If I could, that's what I would do. But yeah, that's the reason why. See, I'm trying to get, maybe I need my Q-tips again. I think in here, I need a little bit more like that. So yeah, the edges you're seeing, those are the edges of my painting. I think I have, where did I put the, oh, I guess my thumbnails are over there. Actually, let me go grab them so you guys can see. They're right here. So just to jog your memory, what I did was these 4 thumbnails, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you can see in the first stream, I demonstrated that. And then this is the thumbnail that I eventually chose for the final painting. So that's what you guys are looking at. Let's see. Maydi Haroom says, what type of surface is she painting on? I'm painting on gesso board, which is made by a company called Ampersand. And if you guys would like information about the supplies, just go down to the YouTube video description and you guys will see I have all the links to all the supplies so you can look them up. And also you guys can always ask me in the Discord if you have questions about that. Okay, I really need to get, as much as I want to pick, I really want to work on, like, the oranges are the fun part, right? But it's like, I can't do that forever. Don't do what I'm doing Don't stay on one spot for too long, which is what I'm doing right now, not listening to my own advice. This is the fun part, but you can't do this forever. You have to move on, right, Clara? Yes. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. All right. Oh, that's kind of nice. I can sort of blend that a little with my finger. And I don't have to worry about it so much because it's no solvents. It's nice. Okay, let's just... See, I want the leaves to be lower in contrast. I should not put this like bright highlight here. That's a little bit much. Let's make that a little bit more structured. And I do want to pull out, like there's sort of these veins that come down. So I'm going to put my strokes going in that direction. And maybe like a really thin glaze over here. Yeah, because I really, really want the oranges to stick out. And here I actually am going to go very dark because I need... Oh, that feels good. That feels really good, guys. That's my plan. See the really dark part I'm painting right now? My plan is to do everything with this like soft rag remove technique. And then I'll do stuff like this. I'll like pop in a couple of spots of black. That's the plan. I don't know if it's going to stay, but let's try. Just warning you guys, it's going to be a long stream because I'm having fun. And I feel like I'm actually making progress. The first one, I really needed to step away from it. It was too much all at once, and I was getting very overwhelmed. So let's just put some of that in. And, oh, come back, fan brush. My fan brush, where did it go? Oh, here it is. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is like the world's best blender because it's so thin and there's very few bristles. Oh, I'm so excited about this. Actually, I need some Q-tips for this. Let's just pull out these little strokes. Actually, here, this is sort of a mess. I should work on this area here. This little like corner. It's sort of like underneath like that. So let me go in with a smaller brush because I do need, this is a pocket. I really do need this to be dark. Otherwise the contrast here just gets really weird. So this to me, what I'm doing right now, this is more like drawing. This is not really painting as much because I'm really trying to just throw in a very specific structure. Oh, it's so hard for me to not just plop in blacks. Oh my God, you guys, that is just killing me right now. It'll be worth it. I really just have to like, let it sit. I'll get there. So much, you guys, painting takes so much patience because it's like, I want to do that final layer, but I know I can't yet. It's like, it's not time. The next layer, I could probably do it, but not this layer. This layer for sure, I need to be patient. Irene says, sounds like me, stop, and yet I can't. Painting is too much fun. You know what it is, you guys? Tell me if this is true for you. When I paint, the world doesn't exist. I know that sounds weird because I'm talking to you. Of course it exists. It doesn't feel that way. It's like you enter another realm. You don't have any problems. Not thinking about the pandemic. It's really nice. It's an escape. And you know something else? This is what I like about painting. Is it really gets you to slow down. I mean, I think about when I'm working, this might just be me. I work at a very frantic pace. I just want to do everything all at once. And a lot of times that's a good thing. Sometimes it's not because I get a little frantic. But when I paint, I don't do that. I don't act frantic and crazy. I do when I'm working. Like when I'm doing art prof stuff or trying to get stuff done. It's like, oh, there's so many things I want to do. There's so many projects. But I just can't right now with everything that's going on. Ooh, that's kind of fun. In fact, I'm going to articulate because down here, there are these like shadows that make that edge pop out. And it's not as straight as you might think. It's actually pretty fractured. So I'm going to go in. Actually, I do need, this really does need to be black. I need this here because otherwise I think I'm going to lose that edge of the box, and I need that for sure. So let's, I have an excuse to put down the black. Yes. Although I might regret it later. Who knows? It's hard to say. We have a question from one who says, what would you say is the biggest difference between water mixable oils and traditional oils? So far, based on my very little experience with water mixables, I would say the water mixables, they feel softer. They're a little bit mushier. They don't have quite the bite that oil paint has when there's no medium in it. And I happen to like that concreteness. I think that's mainly it. They just feel squishier than traditional oils. And honestly, it could just be the color or the mediums that I'm using. It doesn't really feel like oils to me. It's like, I don't even know that I would say that they're like oils. They almost feel like just another type of paint. Maybe it's not really like acrylic though. It's a very different, it's in the feel. It's the feel of the brush. That is definitely what I'm focusing all my time on. And it depends on what type of feel you like. I mean, some people might really enjoy having that slippery quality. I don't think I like it that much, but that's really me. Ginny says, I can identify, disappear into some place. It's a really good place. When I come back from a drawing or doodling or painting, it can feel, oh, I guess your comment got cut off. It's great. I just love it so much. That's why these tutorials are so great. It's like, it gives me an excuse. Well, it gives me an excuse to make work and not feel it has to be a masterpiece, because I know that the whole purpose of this tutorial is not for me to, well, I'm hoping I can make a great painting, but you know, that's not really why I'm here. I'm here to teach. And so that takes for me the pressure off. Like if I was making stuff, like let's say I had a solo show, like that's a whole different ballgame. So yeah. Let's scrape more. I'm loving the scraping, you guys. Although this has medium on it, so now it's not scraping so well, but I'll just go in and I'll dampen it with the rag. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Oh, the leaves. I got so distracted. I need to get back to the leaves. Let's get on the edges like this. I really want the leaves to disappear. I really, really do. In fact, this one, I'm going to almost get rid of it. Let it fade into the distance. Oh, and this leaf kind of got lost. Let's put this one back like this. Tell me in the chat, you guys, those of you who paint, do you guys paint with a rag much, or are you more a brush person? I mean, if I could have it my way, I would just paint with the rag the whole time. And well, I guess that's sort of what I'm doing. Okay, I guess I do have it my way. All right, let me get out some more paint. And I am going to do another stream at some point with another brand. I mean, we're using Winsor & Newton right now because they provided the supplies, but I also have some from Royal Talons. So at some point, I'll paint with those, and I can give you guys information about my experience there. Although, you know, you guys, because I'm not very good at these and I don't know a lot, I was looking online to see if I could get information. There's so much really not useful information. I couldn't believe it. Because most of the time when we're doing stuff that I know how to do, like I don't have to look it up. But for this, because I don't have experience, I looked on YouTube and I looked at articles and everything. I was like, wow, I had no idea you could write such a long article and give so little good information. Like I really was sort of horrified by it. Like I saw some articles that were so long and I was like, where is the good information? Like, could you drone on more? It really was frustrating. So what I'm hoping is that once I get more experience with this, I can actually put together something that maybe is a little bit more readable, because it's so hard. Like, why do you have to go through so many websites to find like one piece of information? I'm like, this is such a pain. I mean, that's one of the reasons I started Art Prof, is I just was tired of going through 8 websites to find like one piece of information. I don't know. Maybe I was looking in the wrong place. You guys can tell me in the chat. Maybe my Google skills are just really bad, but I could not find anything that was, for me, helpful, that revealed anything that I felt was going to provide insight on the oils. I was trying to find information on how to clean the oils because I thought this was like acrylics, but I think what I'm going to do is use a silicoil brush cleaning tank, which is what I typically use for oils. And then that will allow the paint to go down to the bottom, and then I can have it evaporate and stuff. Sorry, I don't have one today. I was going to go to the art store later this week, but I'll show you guys next time how to use a silicoil tank because I really like those. Those are great. Okay, let's really refine these branches. I want them to be more varied, so let's just lift. I mean, I might end up taking out too much, but I sort of think that's okay, right? I think so much of this is questioning. I feel like half the time I'm just asking myself questions. You guys ever do that? I hope you say yes, so I don't feel like such a crazy person. I mean, I think a lot of artists feel that way. We feel like we're crazy. We sort of are, but you want to just feel like, oh, I'm not the only one that has crazy thoughts about my work. It's reassuring. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen, but in the Art Prof Discord, we have a channel in there, and it's called Artist Wellness, and it's very popular. I mean, there's so many people in there who are just talking to us about concerns they have, and a lot of people say they don't have a lot of people to talk to about those things because, quote, normal people don't understand a lot of the issues that we have as artists, right? Okay, this, oh, you guys, I'm totally missing this. Oh, this leaf comes all the way down. That's why. All right. This is a drawing issue. Okay, so this leaf, I totally missed that. I did not see that it was like covering the orange at all. Okay, that really helps clarify what's going on. Okay, so this is the leaf when I'm painting right now, and it's behind the orange. Let's try that. Let's see what's happening there. John Murph says, I soak my brushes with vegetable oil, then use water and soap to clean them. And Karen says, I use water and towel and soap, but you can clean them as regular oil brushes. Yeah, what I usually use is a cleaner called D&L hand cleaner. It's great. You can get it at a hardware store. It's much better than those cleaners that they sell at the art store. The art store ones, I'm sure they're fine, but the D&L hand cleaner, it's so good. Usually I buy the Gojo brand, but it's the best cleaner that I've ever tried. I think it's linked in our oil painting tutorial page. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name. It's in another language. Don't you just use a solvent and a mesh for cleaning? I don't use a mesh. I use a silicoil brush cleaning tank. If you guys Google it, you'll see what it looks like. It's got like a little wire coil on the inside, and it lets you like sort of bounce your brush up and down. And so I really like that. The only one I have right now has Gamsol in it, so I can't use it for this. But yeah, next time I'm on the stream, I'll make sure that I have one so I can demo exactly how that works. Okay, getting picky again. So this is still too, it's time to squint. It's too tight, guys. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. It's too tight. I told myself I was going to be all like ethereal and atmospheric, and I'm not doing it. Let's come down to here. I think, oh, this box is driving me crazy, and I'm totally ignoring it. It's bad. Don't do that. We have to work on this. I can't leave this alone because I'm going to pay for that later on. It's sort of like, you should, but sort of like going to the gym. Like, you should go, it'll be good for you, but you really don't want to do it. Which is stupid because every time I've gone to work out, I always feel better. And I'm always like, yes, I feel so good and so nourished. But for some reason, getting out that door, It's hard. Although I guess right now nobody's really getting out the door, so I'm lucky that I have a treadmill at home, so I don't have to worry about it, but I know not everybody does. Okay, simple strokes. Get the point across. Come on. You know what I'm going to do? Down here is sort of drawing issues, so I'm going to keep it really boring and I'll mess it up on the next layer. Sometimes you have to like plan for, okay, well, I'm doing this now, and then on the next layer, I'll do this. Painting is like that. You can't get it all in one layer. Oftentimes it requires like working multiple layers to get to that point. Like there was this one time I did this commission, and it was for a painting of a mother playing a piano with her daughter next to her playing a cello. And I knew when I saw that cello, I was like, I can't paint that in one layer. I knew that I had to do a layer of burnt sienna and followed it up with an alizarin crimson glaze. And that was how I was going to get that transparency, because like on a cello, you have that like varnish that makes the color very specific. So yeah. So my plan right now is to keep some of these areas plain, so that way I can mess with them later. So that's what I'm going to do. Like this is going to be really boring looking right now, what I'm doing, but I'm doing it like this so that way later I can add some more dramatic strokes. So this is not where I want it to be in terms of mark making, but I need it like this so I can do the next layer. Yeah, actually, this should be more dramatic too. It's hard because if you make it too mushy, it makes you feel like nothing's going to work out because it's too mushy. But then if I add something more articulate, I feel like it's too tight. And I don't like that either. Rock in a hard place, guys. I do need a little more articulation here, though. Like this is a pretty harsh edge. And then a little touch for this hole down here. I got to even this out. I need this to be plain and boring. Okay. You need plain and boring areas so that way the other areas are more fun to look at. And I lost this edge. So let's put this edge back. That in there. And then it's a little softer on this side. So I'm going to make that a little bit more dramatic. And then here, maybe a little more straight. I think got a little mushy. All right, that's a little bit better. Let me take a look. I think the contrast might be a little high on my webcam. Let me turn that down a little bit. Maybe that'll help you guys see it better. Oh no, that's too much. That's not enough. Okay, I know it's a little dark, but it'll help you guys maybe see some of the texture a little bit better. I could brighten it up a little bit. Okay, maybe that's a little bit better. Blue Wolf is asking, what am I using the fan brush for? The fan brush, for the most part, I'm using it to blend. So if I have an area like this, like I was feeling like this was a little bit too strokey, so I'm just going in here and it's just like a light little dusting. It's so nice. I'm loving this fan brush. Like I never really used one of these before. Or I always thought that they were for watercolor. I mean, actually, that's more the reason why I never really used it. But then my friend told me to use it and I was like, okay, well, give it a shot. Just because you're amazing and I respect you and think you're amazing. We do have a tutorial with Kathy coming out. I need editors. Editing is so slow when you're a one-woman production company. So it's just, unfortunately, this just takes so long to produce. I wish they didn't, but I can't really do anything about it. Editors are expensive and we just can't afford it right now. Someday, keeping my fingers crossed. So yeah, Blue Wolf, if you look at this, that's what I'm doing. I'm just using it to like lightly blend things. In fact, I might use it. I don't like how this is so sharp. Maybe I'll make this edge less sharp so this one can stay sharp. All right, it's time to lean back and look at what's going on, because it's starting to look too much the same to me. I'm trying to keep a pair of eyes on it. So a lot of squinting. Who here squints? Tell me if you squint. I can't paint or draw without squinting. It's so important to my process. Like, I need it. Some people tell me, like, if you wear glasses, that they just take their glasses off. Although, I don't know. This is very picky, but I like controlling how much I squint. how much it is actually out of focus. That's what happens when you're a total control freak. Okay, and then here, this is sort of fun. There's a little bit of variation. Like, you would sort of think that this edge would just be flat, but I can see that coming down from the top. There's, yeah, this is not as flat as you might think it is. So I'm making these too dark on purpose so that I can now go in with the rag and make it softer. So that's what I mean by, like, you paint something a certain way, knowing that later on you're going to follow it up with something else. I do that a lot. So sometimes, like I said, on this layer, it looks really bad and boring, but like, it'll get better. On the next layer, like, guys, I loved painting that little bit of that leaf. Like, I can't wait to do that on the rest of the painting, but it's going to be a little while until that actually happens. I'm definitely going to have to wait till the next layer for that to occur. Get that in there. I just want to really articulate this edge of that leaf a little bit better. Okay, more squinting, guys. I gotta fix this whole section. Is that, I don't know, I'm trying to wonder. I feel like maybe this is like right here, that's the corner, but you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna let it go off. And I'm gonna look at this and I'm gonna realize that the background is lighter than the carton. And so therefore I need to make this edge just a little bit more pronounced. I'll do that with the fan brush. Oh, this is like the world's best blending tool. Oh, and then I lost this edge too. Okay, we got to add that edge back. Yeah, I'm finding this brush isn't very good for other stuff. It's good for blending. Blending is great. It's doing a nice job with that. Okay, let's make sure this, I got to really separate this edge because I feel like some of these lines are coming up too high. Let's see, let's come in. Oh, I don't know, something about the angle is really weird. I feel like maybe I'm not foreshortening it or something. Maybe that's it. Maybe it goes higher up here. Oh yeah, I think I made it too low. So like, I talk about accuracy and stuff not being important, but sometimes when it's stuff like foreshortening, some of that has to be correct, but it's like you have to sort of nail the proportions in relation to each other. Oh, that's better. And oh, it's this edge. So yeah, this is where the adjusting has to happen. Oh, it's more like, that's it. Okay, I feel better. That's it. That's where that squinting, that fresh eye, I did not see that the first time that I worked on this piece. All right, so that's very much a drawing change. Oh, and I need to remove some of this. Okay, let's, yeah, like this rag, you got to press hard, you guys, or it's not going to come out. And I'll make this, I'll put like a little touch of a more articulate edge, and I'll let it disappear towards the bottom. Yeah, like I am pressing hard with this. So this is the linseed oil, not the linseed oil, safflower oil. Putting that in there. Is that, okay, more squinting, guys. I think I'm gonna lift here. Okay, it's not great, but I feel better about that angle. Like you have to be okay redrawing things. I find a lot of people don't do that with painting. It's like they just sort of draw it and then they're like, okay, I'm all set. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're not all set. You have to reevaluate when you come through on the second pass. All right, and then there's a little bit of division here. This is very minor. Make this really light and suggestive. Maybe I'll do another pass with the fan brush. Oh, that's it. I'm so excited about the fan brush. That is so cool. Karen is saying the texture is really starting to appear on the mandarins. I'm going to get there. I think that I need to do some brushwork at some point. The art girl says to demushify her layer so far. Can I use that word, art girl? I just really like that. Yeah, art girl, you want to teach the tutorial for me? I think to direct the paint strokes and to prepare for the next layer. Yeah. You do one thing to get ready for the next thing. And that's where I think painting is not as direct as drawing. Drawing, I just do it. I mean, for sure, I definitely have drawing techniques where I'm layering the charcoal or I'm trying to build up the crayon or something like that. But especially with painting, I always have I'm doing this so I can do that layer. I can really think about that in the future. So, I mean, some of it's spontaneous. A lot of it I don't plan, but some of it I do. Like that cello that I mentioned, I had to plan that. It was not going to happen any other way. Rachel says, I have oil pastel. Which one is better to use as a beginner oil pastel artist, oil painting or oil pastel? I mean, oil pastel is just so much more straightforward. It's easier. There's not as much housekeeping or supplies. So if you don't have a lot of experience, I would say use the oil pastels for a little while, because what you can do with oil pastels, you can actually dip your finger in baby oil and you can mush it around and it very much becomes like paint, like especially if you build up the oil pastel. I should probably do another tutorial where I do that more because I didn't do that very much. I just did a little bit of smudging in the last one, but I can definitely do a tutorial where we explore that a little bit more. Oh, this is funny. Pressy says, I like the voice. I'm curious what makes it American. I really like that. Roy says, yep, I blur my eyes to see the color better. I do it when I haven't done any blending yet. It's so helpful when you're trying to just distill things to the basics, because it is very easy to get totally sucked in to a lot of those details. And that's the kiss of death, because then you're really not thinking clearly about the whole. Because the thing is, the more you work on it, the more likely you are to pick. And I don't want to pick right now. Irene says the long articles are because they are writing them for Google. All the SEO experts were saying you need to write 2,000 words to get a high Google ranking. Oh, that's so annoying. I find that very frustrating, because it's like, if you write good content, people will find it. I mean, that's the way it works, right? I mean, I understand. Trust me, I know what it's like to be starting from nothing. I started Art Prof from nothing. All these people told me when I wanted to start Art Prof, they said to me, just teach a class on Skillshare. You can do something on Coursera. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Those formats don't fit what it is that I want to do. Yeah, that's very frustrating when people aren't putting out content for the right reasons, I suppose. I think that's very frustrating. Rachel says the oil pastel that I have won't smudge as much. So you might increase the amount of baby oil or experiment with different brands, because there's so many different types of oil pastels. The ones that I used last time were Caran d'Ache, and those were pretty slippery. Even if you just go to the art store, you can buy like a couple sticks. Usually you can buy an individual stick and just try the different brands, see which one you like, and then see if it's really worth doing that. The other option you could try, Karen, which is in between oil pastels and oil paint, would be oil bars. And those are big and blunt. They sort of look like a little candy bar. I don't know. They're stinky though. But those are pastier and more slippery than the oil pastels, but they're blunt. I mean, you really can't do a lot. Although I have seen people mix oil bars with oil pastel and with oil paint. So there's definitely a lot of things that you could try. And I believe Blue Wolf, you did write an article comparing all the different brands. So I don't know if you want to put that link in there for Rachel. That might be a good idea. Okay, let's get back to this. We need to darken up some areas before I let it dry. So I think more squinting, and I need to soften up the dark edges of my paint. So for example, let's see if the fan brush will do it. I don't know, maybe the fan brush isn't strong enough, but fan brush, I like you, but you seem a little wimpy. Like, you're good for the subtle stuff. I don't know if you're good for the big stuff. I don't know if I like that. Could just be that my paint is so tacky that it's not doing a great job. Well, it's okay. Still, jury's a little bit out still. I don't know. Maybe I just need my big brush. Let's see. Like, if I just... Because I feel like my dark shadow edges, they're too crisp. I don't like it. I don't like this. The fan brush is better. So I'm going to load up my fan brush with a lot of paint. I'm going to try to get these softer so the next try I can maybe play with texture a little bit more. So like up here. Ooh, okay, that was bad. I think I just gave my mandarin orange eyelashes. Okay, don't do that. Shoot. Oh, I need to remove some more of that stuff with the safflower oil. That was terrible. Bad, bad, bad. All right, maybe not that much paint on the fan brush. You know what I wish I had a baby fan brush. Maybe I can go to the store and see if they have one. I don't know if they do. They must. Come on. Somebody probably wants a baby fan. I want a baby fan brush. Now, see, guys, I don't know that this is good that I like the fan brush so much because I could see myself blending this painting to death. And I'm not sure that's a good thing. But, you know, it's okay. We can cut back if it's really that bad. Let's just try it. I don't know. It's like, you don't know. Maybe I'll bring back some of this because I think I lost a little bit of the shadow in here. And actually, I'll go in with the rag and I'll also wipe away a little bit because the fan brush is making these like funky textures that I'm not so sure I like. But I do want to bring up some of these shadows. Yeah, like this edge, this one at the very bottom, this one should be like really soft. Like that would be better. Yeah, that's giving me, I mean, I don't want to make this like flat dark though. That's what sort of concerns me, but I guess I need that contrast. I'm going to do more next time. I think right now, you know what I do need? Guys, maybe I'm caving to my whole contrast thing, but I feel like I really need dark underneath this leaf because I'm losing the depth. So at the very least, just a little patch. Let me do a little patch. I swear I'm not going to rely on my crutches. We all have tendencies. That is the way it is. Just have to be aware of them. To know when you're pulling out something just out of laziness or because you don't want to try something new. All right, yeah. I don't know. Like, part of me is like, Clara, getting too fan brushy. Because there is such a thing. You know, when you find one tool and it's like, oh, it's so good. And then you just get all happy about it. And then it sort of kills your painting. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to get too fan brush happy. Even though it is really satisfying, you guys. I am loving this. Not the painting, the process. Let's get back to these leaves. I don't feel like I spent a lot of time with this. Oh, you guys, I'm having so much fun. As much as the painting is challenging and there are things I need to work on, I'm having a lot of fun with this. Anybody else painting with me? Just let me know. Just curious. Like, guys, last night when we did the clothing stream, oh my God, so many people drew. I was so excited. I was like really bothering my husband this morning because he was like trying to read the newspaper. I'm like, look at the Discord. Look at all these people who like drew. It's so exciting. Oh my God, everybody did such a good. He's like, I'm trying to read the newspaper. I'm like, but I'm so excited. I can't help it. Like just seeing that like a flood of paintings. I was like, oh my God, you guys. Like I'm super impressed by this. I mean, it really is like the best art teacher gift you guys could ever give me. It's when I see what you guys make. Very exciting. I mean, I know there's a lot of like, well, I don't know. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like I do see like premium courses being offered where they say you get a critique, but I'm not sure that that works because it's not on an ongoing basis, because a lot of those courses end at some point. Like they say, oh, the course is from here to here. And there is something to be said about it being a course, because sometimes like people will spend more time, or they'll say, oh, well, this is the course, so I'm really going to focus. So, I mean, I guess it's more like apples and oranges, but I like that people are really conscious of what other people are doing in Discord. It's like very inspiring. Really like that. And the fact that you guys egg each other on is even better. It's like the energy is so exciting what happens in the Discord. So if you're not in the Discord, shame on you. You should get in there because it's pretty awesome. And I never really used Discord before. My husband got me into it, and now I'm like totally hooked. It's like such a great platform, much better than Facebook. Ugh. We had a Facebook group for a while and it was not very active. And Facebook is just sort of competitive and I didn't like it. So that's why we switched over to Discord. Oh, the stupid box. I feel like I'm not getting the structure. Like maybe it's a matter of edges. Maybe this edge needs to be harsher. Is that what it is? I can't tell if it's the edges or if it's a drawing issue. This is challenging. I don't know. I may just need to leave it and come back because the paint is pretty tacky right now. Although I do want to, I don't know, maybe I'm drawing too much with the box. Maybe the box needs to be more atmospheric. Maybe if let's smudge some of the box down here. Let's let some of the box disappear more into the leaves and have more of a transition, because I don't think I like this edge here. This edge is a little bit too prominent. Maybe that's better, because I don't mind it being sharp up here. I think that that's fine. I do want to lift more out of this leaf. I'm still ignoring the leaves, guys. Oh, let's get more linseed oil and maybe just a little more contrast around this leaf, because I feel like I'm sort of losing it. Although, I don't know, I might not want the background to be that bright. It might actually be better if it's a little bit lighter. Roy says, I'm a fan of fan brushes. Can't rely on them for details when they get saturated with oil paint. So seeing her experimenting with this brush is a brave move. I don't know what I'm doing with the fan brush, Roy. I've never, like literally never picked one up. So this is just me playing around. I mean, well, we'll see where it goes. I'm very conscious of like getting too into a material and just wanting to put it everywhere. And then everything gets very monotonous and very mushy. So that's one of the reasons I'm just like a little bit on the fence about using it so much. I gotta fix, okay, you know what I gotta fix the stem, because I don't want that to go so long without being addressed. So let's do some really picky stuff. I can't help but pick here. It's just so small, such a small part of the image. I'm gonna bring in more Q-tips for this, maybe to pull out a little bit of this highlight. Yeah, I'm sorry, you guys, if it's hard to see. I'm trying to figure out if there's a way I can hook up my DSLR, because the quality on the camera is just not as good. I mean, it's okay for some things, but for painting, it's like you really lose a lot in the process. Squinting, looking. You guys have to look more. The more you work on a piece, the more you got to step back and look at it. And I'll be doing a lot of that in the finishing stages where you don't actually paint that much. You're just looking and reevaluating. That does happen a lot. I want to scrape some more. The scraping is really cool. I do want to do it more aggressively. This is like the first time in my life I've liked this palette knife. Like, I used to use this palette knife a lot for applying oil primer. It was good for that, but I literally never painted with this palette knife, and now it's actually sort of helping me out a lot. Surprised. Yeah, never throw away any tools. Like, even tools you're like, I'm never going to use that again. It's like you end up whipping it out literally 15 years later sometimes. It's very strange. Maybe. All right, it's time to get a really small brush because this whole area is just so tiny that there's just no way I'm going to get in without a tiny, tiny brush. Artsy is asking, what is the DSLR brand? If it's Canon, I think they have a program to allow it to function as a webcam. I have a Canon Rebel. I'll look it up and see. I just haven't really seen a lot of people doing that. Like, everybody I see is using a webcam, but I would really like that because the DSLR is so much better. The Epic Kitchen says the two supporting oranges give definition to that central area in your painting. Well, thank you so much. And actually, now that I'm squinting, I sort of feel like the back one should be a little bit lighter. I don't know. I'm not really sure. Jason is painting along. Awesome. Yana is painting digitally and saying it's been so calming. Yeah, use whatever you want, you guys. I'm painting. If you got colored pencils, you got graphite, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, I think the point here is that we're together. That's the fun thing. Dysenia says the angle of the box seems to be a little too sharp. Maybe the right side's a little too short. That might be the problem. It might be there's something funky going on there, but I'm leaving it alone because honestly, I think I've been looking at it too much, and I don't know that I'm actually making anything better at this stage. So that's why I'm leaving it alone. Well, I'm not right now, but I will get there. There are places where you just got to like stop for a little bit and come back, and that's fine. Okay, let's work on this orange stem. And for that, I'm going to zoom in on my reference photo. So that's a great reason, you guys, to download the reference photo off of our Flickr page, because otherwise, if you're working off the video, it kind of stinks. Like, the reference is so bad. And if you guys have not been to our Flickr page, you should, because that's where I post all my reference photos for the draw alongs. Well, not all of them. Like, if they're from another photographer, like online, I will just post a link instead, or I'll put the images in Google Drive so you guys can download them. But the Flickr page has way more. The Flickr page, there's like sheep and rocks, all kinds of things that I encounter here in Utah. So yeah, you guys can check that out. And it's all free, and the images are really high res, guys. They're like 6,000 pixels, so you will not have issues in terms of that. Okay, let's get in. I lost the stem a little bit, so let's pull that back. Oh, this section is so tiny. See, this is a part of me that goes, if John Singer Sargent was painting this, he would just go and leave it, right? Ugh. Squinting. I might have to leave it alone because it's so tiny, and I just, I might have to do it on the third layer rather. Okay, that's a little bit darker. Maybe if I soften this edge and get more clear about where the orange actually ends, but then that's too... You guys ever feel like you're in a rock in a hard place when you paint? You're like, if I do this, that will happen, but then if I do that, that will happen. I'm going to try to add some of the strokes of the leaf behind it. Sometimes, if you want to fix one thing, you got to fix something else. So that's what I'm thinking right now. Maybe some more dramatic strokes back here, but now it's getting all thick. I am using too much paint. Let's try this. Maybe if I put like a thicker, because this is the darker spot here. on the right-hand side. And now let's get in with some Q-tips and just soften those edges. I need to go brush shopping, guys. I really do. You know what I think? This is how I know Art Prof will have made it. If I walk into an art store and somebody recognizes me, that is going to be my moment. Has not happened yet. It happened in Boston, but I feel like that's a little bit different because people knew me in Boston. So if it happens here, if somebody at Salt Lake City, if one of those people recognizes me, then I can say, okay, Art Prof has made it. we are the real deal. I mean, I think we're the real deal. I'm just saying, like, do other people think we're the real deal? That's a different story, right? Or if see, my dream, you guys. No. Okay, it's not that. This is how I know Art Prof made it. If I am on All Things Considered on NPR, then I will have made it. And I want to be interviewed by Ari Shapiro. Oh, I love Ari Shapiro. He's so smart, but witty, and has journalistic integrity, and has that beautiful voice. Oh, I love him. I also like his Instagram posts. He's so cute on Instagram. But my other NPR fantasy is I want to be on Fresh Air with Terry Gross. Because I love Terry Gross. She's so cool. She's so awesome. I heard, actually, you guys know that actor, Adam Driver? I heard that he walked out on her. I was like, who walks out on Terry Gross? You have to be a real jerk. I mean, just to walk out in an interview, that's just not very nice. But to walk out, I'm like, you're on Fresh Air. How do you do that to Terry Gross? Like, that is not nice. It really is not nice. And Terry Gross is like a class act. I just could not believe he did that. So yeah, there's my judgmental take on Adam Driver. Although I don't really know that much about him as an actor. Maybe he's a good actor. I'm not sure. But I was mad about that Terry Gross thing. Like, dude, you don't do that. I just feel protective about my NPR personalities. I'm starting to pick, guys. That's not a good sign. Might be a sign that this needs to rest. You know what I'm going to do? Before I do that, I'm going to take a quick tour of the whole thing. I'm just going to jump. I'm going to do a little here and a little there. And I'm just going to touch up a couple of spots before I give it a rest. Because it's getting there, but I think it might need some time away. I do want to soften the edges. I don't feel like I'm softening up as much as I said I was going to. So maybe I'll just make a quick pass to let some of the, like, this is really flat looking. I don't feel like I like this stem that I have up here. So let's just pull out a couple areas. I think the key is, you guys, whatever you're painting, you need variation. If you paint everything the same color, the same stroke, it gets boring really fast. So that's what I'm trying to do, is to add variation. So even if I have a leaf and the leaf looks like flat black, I'm not going to do that. You guys will notice that in a lot of these areas, I'll give you an example. Hang on, let me fix this. So like this leaf here in the photo, it looks black, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pull out some highlights and give it some variation and change up the edges. Ooh, that felt kind of fun. Let me try that down here. Some harsher strokes. Maybe I'll do, ooh, that's kind of, oh, I'm sort of liking that. Okay, I take it back. Maybe I'm not ready to, I can't tell. It's hard. How do you guys know when to walk away? Just curious. Sometimes it's really hard. Ooh, I'm sort of liking all this rack work with the leaves. I'm sort of having fun with that. And here, I'm really not looking at the photo. I'm just playing. Just trying to see really, it's like, what can I get away with here? Maybe this should get lighter. I don't know. I'm just doing this now because, again, it's like it's better for me to make this too light than too dark. And I'll save the like dark stuff for the very end. Because if I get too dark here, I can't take it back if it gets really dark. Yeah, in fact, let's really take away this leaf. Pull out some of that atmospheric perspective. And then this too. Ooh, I like that better. But now I lost some of my highlights. So let's put those highlights back. Yeah, the medium is so much better. Like I was trying to do it with water and it really did not work well. So if you guys want to remove stuff, use the medium. Don't use the water. The water is not great for this. I want to do more scraping, but I wonder if I'll be able to scrape when it's dry. I don't know. I guess I'm going to have to wait and see. You know what I've been doing? Tell me if you guys do this. So this painting, I have been babysitting it. Like it's just on my desk. Like I'm just looking at it. I'm just keeping an eye. You guys ever do that? Like I really am babysitting this. Ethan is saying the top edge of the orange on the right is a little off. You know what, Ethan? That is not the only thing that is off. There are a million things that are off in this piece. And you know what? I don't care because that's not what I'm after. I mean, if that's your goal, sure. It's not my goal. So, yeah. I mean, there are a lot of things in here that are wonky. The only one that's bugging me a little bit is the cart. I mean, not the cart, the box. Because I think the box does need some structure, and I'm definitely not done with the box. Speaking of the box, let's go back and work on it. So the box, I think I do want to work on that, but the other stuff, like the organic stuff, like the oranges, I don't really care that much. So let's just do a little redrawing down here. And maybe that will help. Like this. Yeah, I'll come back to it because I just feel like I need some time away. And maybe if I do that, it'll be more clear next time. Yeah, this definitely needs some redrawing, but that's okay. Maybe I'll just throw in, because there is there's a pretty strong shadow here. So I think if I build this up, that's going to help a little bit. So yeah, that's like what I'm saying is that the reference is the reason we call it a reference photo. That's all it is. It's not dictating what I want to do in terms of my creative choices, because I could copy it. But to me, there's a very big difference between copying something and painting it. Because when you paint it, I would hope that it's an interpretation, your interpretation, and not just a copy. Okay, quick scan, guys. I'm scanning. And I'm looking at what needs to pop. So actually this orange in the back, I'm making it brighter than it really is. It's really not that bright, but I sort of like the way it's popping. So I'm going to leave it, even though I know the other two really should be a lot brighter. That's okay. And I'm going to let this one like really disappear. Like that. More squinting. You see, I'm squinting more than I was at the beginning because there's more to evaluate. I have to look at it more carefully. Yeah, I need to get rid of, I don't know, these branches back here are sort of bugging me. They're a little bit too prominent. Although, I sort of like this being really dark. So maybe I'll just toss in a little bit on that edge. Like that. More squinting. See, this is where I told you the paintings, this tutorial is not going to be that fun because it's just me going, like staring at it. But that's what I need to do. I can't do this without that process. It's so important to me. I mean, I watched my friend Kathy Speranza draw, and I was like, oh my God, you have so much patience. Like, I don't have the patience to be looking that hard. I mean, I felt like a barbarian when I was watching her. So there are all these like little dots on the orange. I'm going to save that for later. That's not going to be something I'm going to address today. But again, it's like I'm planning for that. I know at some point I will definitely get there. The edges are still a little too harsh for me. And I really need to wipe out this corner. I want this like bright. Maybe if I like really rub it hard, I can make that happen. Oh, I might have to like, it's a little bit better. I don't know. I might have to scrape that area down. It's not coming off very well. I mean, once you tone this panel, you can't get it back. It's going to be light, but it's never going to be that white of the page. I mean, I suppose the scraping sort of is, but not really. A little scraping up here. More squinting, guys. I don't like these leaves at the bottom. They're still too dark for me. Let's like really lift these. I know I might destroy them in the process, but you know what? Who cares? Right? This is one big experiment. I kind of don't care what anybody says. That's the best part about getting old, despite all the achy joints. You're like, I don't care. See, the thing is, like, when I was in my 20s, I was like, I don't care. I did. I totally did. I just didn't want to admit it, right? And actually, this corner, I know it's at the very bottom of the screen, but I need to pull this out because I feel like here I need that negative space to pop a little bit better. And actually, it should come in a little bit more. So let's pull that out. That might be too much. I'm not sure. I want to put something harsher up here at the top. Again, I'm still using the medium. This medium is really helpful. Oh my God. Thank you, safflower oil. We have a question from Kevin who says, how are you going to address the dots? I always have trouble with little details like that in paintings. I think the key, Kevin, don't paint every single one. Just paint a few. And if you're selective like that, it tends to be better, because I think the tendency when you look at something like that is to like, but you can't do that. You just do a little touch. I might, well, I don't know if I want to do it on this layer, although, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try it. I'm going to do a little bit. And if I like it, I'll keep it. If I don't like it, I'll do it on the next layer. I'm not sure if I want it on this layer. It's a little bit hard to tell. If you look at it more abstractly, so that it doesn't feel so specific. And I'm doing a very light glaze, you guys. This is very, very thin. I mean, honestly, I don't have a plan. I really don't know. It's been a while since I painted an orange. And a lot of it is just like getting it to blend into the form, because if you don't do that, it ends up looking like somebody painted the orange, like painted the literal orange. You don't want that. So some of it is just softening things up, doing a very light glaze. And I'm not looking that carefully, guys. I'm just sort of blocking in. So some of it, I think, is just doing a light glaze. So what you add is not very severe. And I might go back in. Let's just do a light pass. And then maybe on the next layer, I'll put in something more substantial. So at the very least, I have some degree of texture. All right, now let's pull them out. Soften all those strokes. So they're there, but not hyper prominent. But there is some texture now. Let's try that. So it's like you put it down, you wipe away. You put it down, you wipe away. And actually, what I'm doing right now is I'm sort of, I have like my nail through the rag. So I'm getting like a harsher stroke. Okay, that's getting there. Okay, yeah, that was a good idea. I'm glad that you brought that up. And now what I'm going to do is another pass of scraping, because now I lost some of my scraping. And I'm just going to scrape around the dots like this. And then I'm going to do another pass with the rag. Okay, that's a beginning. That is not done yet, guys. But you know, I'm going to do the same treatment to the other areas. So thank you for bringing that up. Now I'm glad that I did that. Okay, so again, a glaze. And maybe something harsher down here because this highlight's pretty strong. Then I don't want to do too much because I don't want to lose that white. That white, I'm not going to get it back. Although, like I told you, I've been babysitting my painting. So maybe I'll wipe it away if it doesn't look good. I shouldn't babysit it. I really should just put it in the closet and not look at it. But I don't know, kind of can't help myself. I don't know, it's like my baby, right? Except it doesn't poop and it doesn't keep me up all night. It's a pretty good baby. Okay, more squinting and maybe a little more scraping. And another pass of rag. So it's a lot of building. Okay, let's do a little bit more on this area. Like this one really does have very visible dots. And I'm just gonna let my brush dance across the surface. I will get more detailed at some point, but again, it's like, don't want to do too much. This is sort of like the foundation for the dots, but what I'll do later on is amongst the dots that we have right now, I will pick a few to make more articulate. And so I guess that's whoever asked that question earlier. That's my approach. That's how I'm going to do it. I don't know. I'm a very analytical artist. Like I like to go back and strategize and I'll do this and then I'll build upon that. And I don't know. Sometimes I'm jealous of artists who are like so free and liberated. I'm like, no, I'm boring and analytical. Okay, and there's definitely textures back here, but because I have this ground, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep it to here. Okay, so see, that is way too pronounced. And now I'm going to go back in. I'm going to wipe these away. So we keep the variation, but we make the marks softer so they don't pop out too much because I don't want that. So some of these strokes, they're going to get wiped away, but I'm kind of okay with that. Okay, let's do another pass of the scraping like this. Yeah, I kind of like the combination of the scraping with the dots. It sort of maintains that texture. So yeah, this texture, I know it looks mushy, but I'm going to get back to it. I will. Promise. A little more scraping over here. Pull out some more. So the rag and the palette knife, they really work like a duo in a way. I really like that. I'm going to pull out this highlight. I sort of lost that in the process. Phil is saying, especially like it when you were focused on the artwork, which was beautiful at the end of the last video. Best of luck with this reincarnation. Thank you very much. And Jill is saying, wow, I actually made it. Hi from Tacoma. Very cool. Karen is asking, what is the rag you are using, the lint-free cloth? Actually, what I'd rather be using is cotton rags, but I ran out. So it's just this. There are these shop towels, and you can buy these at a hardware store. These are much better than paper towels. The paper towels, they rip up, they're weaker, they leave lint on the paper. These are pretty good. I much prefer cotton rags, but I don't have them today. So it's nice to have this extra stuff. And let's see, Nolan says, just stopped in. This looks so good. It's so cool how you only did that with one color. Have to try that. Yeah, I actually think, to be honest, when there are limitations, I feel that I do better, because when there are too many options, I think it's very easy for me to get very lost in that. So guys, please join me in the Art Prof Discord. I will be in the Art Alongs channel. Discord link is in the video description below. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can help you guys out with critiques, tutorials, and professional development. And thank you so much to our top Patreon supporters who make it possible for us to keep Art Prof 100% free and accessible to everybody. And guys, thank you so much for joining me, asking your questions, making your comments. Super helpful. And I'll see you next time. We are definitely going to work on this again. This is not the end. It needs a lot of work still. Okay?